those other businesses that you've been involved in or have had, you know, obviously you evolve, right? I mean, that's the one thing I always like to get out in this podcast is, as much as for automation, it's just to inspire people to be entrepreneurs in the first place. And I think that, you know, every company you start, whether you start it and sell it or decide to go a different venture, it's just a learning experience, you know? So what are some things you learned in the other companies that got you to where you sit today in seeing the potential to this new to Greensy?
Wow, so many. I could think of some of the big ones that are resonating with me right now is realizing, you know, for a while, one of my businesses was me. You know, the custom programming sort of shop. You know, people would say, "Oh, you got to go talk to CBQ at blah," and you know the name of the company. And you know, for a while, you know, that was fun, and I liked that, but when I took the step to not to actually build the company and really become the CEO and not just put it on the business card, which I actually had a hard time doing for whatever reason, you know, not saying I was, you know, an actual developer, but just saying CEO, and really becoming CEO and working what I would call on the business as opposed to in the business. That was tough. I mean, very tough, because, you know, I always wanted to say like, oh, I can jump in here and do this better. But I think the big lesson for me was realizing that I couldn't. You know, when I started making some good hires and I found people who were literally better than I was at like the things that I just absolutely hated doing, was mind blowing, like mind blowing. And, you know, now I make it my life's mission to seek out those people, empower them, help them lead and learn, and then like, you know, surpass me, which is great because I would love to work myself out of the job always. You know, that's actually how you make yourself indispensable, is be indispensable. Like, and then people are like, hey, how do you work yourself out of this? Like, CBQ, go fix this and then work yourself out.
Yeah.
So I make it, that would be, I think, my best lesson. Yeah. The other is just, you know, iterate. You know, the thing that, you know, it's actually a core value of Greensy is, we call it Duhansei to do Kaizen, which is just Japanese for relentless reflection to continuously improve. And so I believe that the secret to life is to do, and then learn from it and then repeat. And so I think a lot of people just, for whatever reason, like love just researching, you know, like they'll just be like, well, I'm going to have to like research the best RoboMower. I'm just going to research forever. And it's like, no, you should go put one in the ground.
Yeah.
Learn how that wiring system works, repeat, and then do it again and again and again and again. And that's the secret, as you know, and some of your listeners may know. Too many people just don't do. They skip the first step. Do.
Yeah, well, and then they sit on the bench so long that then the opportunity passes them by. Bingo. Is what happens, bingo. You know? Yeah, no, I'll tell you what, I love the reflecting and constantly learning, because, you know, businesses, much like people and everything in life, is just constantly evolving. And, you know, you should always be getting better. You know, it's kind of like that. Like they say, if your company is not growing, it's shrinking. You can never find that in between. You know, you can't just lock it in place. And yeah, so no, I like your values. I was actually going to get to your guys' core values anyway, so I might just jump right into it. You hit one of the core values, but I'm someone that believes in having companies now that have core values, so you don't have to micromanage. Like I always say, I don't want to be a boss. I want you to flourish. This is our, you know, it's like, you know, honesty. I put in my values, like, we want to make money. I want my people to know we're here to be profitable, you know? So if you want to explain some of your core values, if you want to talk about any of that, or, you know, I'm just interested, you know, cause you brought it up already. So.
Yeah, you know, two stories that actually came to mind, if you don't mind a quick tangent, is in my first company, we never did this core values exercise. I thought it was silly. I was like, I don't have time for this. We're making money. Like, you know, do more work. Like, that's the core value. And I remember a friend of mine,
like my brother.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know your brother, but
he's
I sound like a lot. I sound like a lot of people.
Let's just do work and keep making money. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah.
So I was that way, and then you know, I took this weekend with my friend who runs a great branding company here in town called Matchstick. They're one of the best, and it was called Brand Camp. And we sat down and we did our core values, and it was a game changer. And I can tell you, like, instantly, right away, it answered a ton of questions that I didn't even know I had. What kind of customers are the best for us? How do we answer the phone? You know, I mean, all those questions were suddenly answered because we did our core values. So like, I remember for this company, you know, we were personable, you know, optimistic developers who were, you know, did craftsmanship. And so, you know, those were the core values. And I remember thinking like, well, shoot, we should, like, we're never going to hire the developer who sits in the corner and is like not personable and doesn't know how to talk to somebody. And so we were like, yeah, like, well then, X, like, don't even look at those people anymore. And then it was like, well, customers, they have to be personal. They can't literally be like, hey, I'm just shopping a spec. Like, it'd be like, hey, no, we really want to understand, like, what problem are you trying to solve? Like, can you explain it to us? And, so anyway, all those things, the values answered. So in this company, Greensy, we were very intentional about our core values. And I think those things actually do kind of evolve, which is really kind of interesting to think about. Like, they're not, I think the entrepreneur and the founders, myself and my co-founder, have these values. And so that's very instilled in the company, but how they kind of play out and what the sort of origin stories are and all that very evolves. It's like every time you talk to an entrepreneur, it's like you have to ask, like, well, what was it then? And then what is it now? Because we have this nice backwards looking sort of rose colored glasses to say, like, oh, that was a big failure, but it was great. And I'm like, I'm sure you didn't say that at the time, right? Like, it was a great learning experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, so values were really good for us. I mean, I could talk about them forever. They're actually on our website. They're kind of that important. We have 6 at Greensy, and I won't go into all of them, but Kaizen is one, for sure, 100%. I mean, the first one though is safety first, and I have to mention that because everything we do at Greensy, from the code we write to the peer review. Like when I, got into this podcast, I had to ask, a team was over here like doing a safety review and a core code review to like make sure that the code that we add does what it says it's going to do and test it. I mean, it's just all throughout the company. And then, all the way to customer success. Like, there's a reason we do what we do, and it's because our customers are here. So we like to pretend that our customer is at the table when we're making a decision. It's real easy to be in a vacuum and be like, well, maybe we could do this, maybe we could do that. And I'm like, well, what do our customers want? And sometimes I just like pick up the phone and text them. I'm like, hey, what do y'all want us to do? And they're like, do this. We're like, okay, guys, here's the answer. Like, they told us.
Yeah. Well, that's the best way to do it. Communication, and it's not, now you don't have to mull over it. So yeah, that's great to know that you've got that rapport with the people you were working with in the beginning to make a great product.